Hey everyone, welcome to the Boomer Bites podcast. I'm your host, Augie Anderson. This is my new Mars control center because I live on the Space Coast and I actually do live on Mars. That's the name of my street. So I thought this was kind of a cool backdrop. And honestly, it's been a minute since my last podcast. And honestly, life just took different turns and priorities and revamping. And, you know, sometimes life does that and we have to just kind of pick up. But sometimes stepping back does give you clarity. And that's exactly what led me to this year's word, because today's episode is Word of the Year. And my word of the year for 2026 is coherent. And it's coherent after 50 is what I'm going to be talking about today. Because every year I do choose a word um, to be my word of the year. I don't know how many of you also do that, but I do choose a word of the year. And last year, my word was limitless. I just love that word, being limitless. There's something about that word because, to me, it means endless potential. And it was a year of real evolution for me. I started to realize that what I wanted to pursue wasn't really that far out of reach. It was actually available to me. I just had to believe it. And believing something can be a challenge because of old mindset and stuff like that. So I just firmly believed I could be limitless in whatever I chose to do. And I stepped into the belief that I am limitless and I am creating from that place now. So this year, my word is coherent. And a lot of people, when I tell them that, go, coherent? What the hell's coherent? But it's a really cool word and concept. And I'm really eager to share this with you. I chose it very intentionally. I always start planning in October for the following year because I want my mind to start thinking, what is it that I want to accomplish? What is it that I would like to see with results? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to travel? What is it that I would like to do? And today, I woke up realizing I haven't really been coherent, and I'm going to delve into what that is. I haven't really been managing my state because I've had a lot of life interruptions. I'm not going to get into all of that, but all of us are having something like that. Boomers, Gen Xers, we have a lot of transitions going on in our life. And I'm one of those people that had some of those transitions with family and things of that nature. So I realized that I was in a state of incoherence. And that was for, again, a multitude of reasons. But this awareness kind of gave me clarity. It gave me clarity about where I'm at and what direction do I really want to go. Because I know without a doubt that coherence allows me to manage myself, everything I am creating, and it is my state of mind that runs the show. And it's your state of mind that runs the show as well. Don't think for a minute that your conscious mind is really what's making things happen for you. It's our subconscious that works as our operating system. So there's a lot of tricky things you got to do to get those two to merge together. When I say coherence, I'm not talking about anything abstract out there. I'm talking about something very real from a real experience, because I really started delving into being coherent last year. It's those moments when everything just feels off. You're distracted, you can't focus, you feel pulled in a dozen directions, your mind is racing, your body feels like it's tense, your emotions are all over the place. That's incoherence. That is you being out of whack. And I've been there lately, mainly with family issues that matter to me. But coherence is the opposite of that. It's when your mind is clear, Your body feels calm and alert, and your emotions are not running the show. You're steady, you're focused, you're present, you're in a place of peace, actually. And from that place, you make better decisions. You respond instead of react. You have more energy. You think more clearly. You show up differently. And that's why this really, truly matters. Because this isn't just about me, this is about all of us. For my Boomer Bites community, pro agers like us, we're managing a lot: family, health, transitions, responsibilities. We have parents that we're taking care of. We're having spouses, that we're taking care of now. Oh, illnesses are setting in for some people. And I even hate bringing this up, but dementia is a factor for parents and spouses now. We have friends that are in those spaces with both. So, coherence allows us to stay grounded in the middle of all of that. And that's what I realized is I was so glad I chose this word, because when I realized that I was really incoherent, I went, so what do I need to do to turn this around? Because that's a whole nother ball of wax. This episode is brought to you by the Best Sleep Well collection on my Amazon storefront. Do you realize that more than 50% of people over 50 either struggle to get to sleep, stay asleep, or wake up way too early? There's all kinds of selections in this collection, so go take a look. It's at sunflowerventures.store. Thanks for tuning in. And now let's get back to this episode. How do we shift? How do we go from feeling scattered, overwhelmed, to calm, clear, and aligned? For me, it starts with this few simple practices. Nothing complicated, just intentional. First, pause and notice. Notice that you're not quite right, that you feel kind of out of sorts. You got to be in tune with your mind, body, and spirit. You can't shift what you're not aware of. When you feel off, just recognize it. I'm not in a coherent state right now. And you might even delve into, but why am I not in a coherent state? And can I resolve whatever it is that is not quite right? Second, slow your breathing. Just slow it down. Inhale and exhale a little longer than usual. Within a minute or two, your body starts to settle and your mind flows. Third, focus on one thing. Incoherence comes from being pulled in too many directions. Coherence comes from simplicity. Ask yourself, what matters right now? Right now. What matters right now? Then give yourself that attention. Fourth, shift back to the heart. When I move out of my head and back to my heart, I feel grounded again, more patient, more steady, more like myself. And finally, give yourself space. Give yourself permission to be not okay once in a while. We can't manage everything all the time, but we have to recognize when we're kind of in a scattered state. That's what I'm going to call it. Not everything needs to be solved in the moment. Sometimes coherence is simply stepping back, resetting, and coming back to being clear. Some days this is a quick reset. Other days I have to come back to it again and again and again. I tend to be a ranter. I don't know if any of you out there are ranters, but you have to recognize when you are ranting and quiet that down. because this isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, intention, and coming back to being in alignment. And we're all capable of doing this. And it starts with knowing what you're moving towards. Be intentional. Know what it is that you want. Think about it. Ponder it. Really evaluate, is this what I want to be doing? Is this where I want to be? And really, look into those tough questions. What does your version of living your best life look like for you? Because my best life may not equate to your best life, because everybody has different nuances and desires that make them live their best life. Because when you're clear on that, it becomes easier to return to a coherent state, which is calm, which is secure and steady. It becomes a reset, a refocus, and a realignment of where you don't want to be, moving over to where you do want to be in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. Because there are a lot of things coming at us. I'm just going to give you one example. So, my mother, 91 years old, all of a sudden she was in ICU. Well, that is a real issue to deal with, and it was disruptive. I mean, she didn't mean to be sick, but that takes precedence. So everything has to be remanaged, rethought about. Things get dropped, and priorities of family. Oh my God, my family is everything to me. My mother, my children, my husband, my grandchildren, all of that. Everything else can get put on hold, not my family. And friends too. If it's a really long time friend, that matters to me as well. So that's why I am choosing coherence for 2026. And I couldn't have picked a better word. It's like the universe and God was helping me select this word, because it only became a word that I learned about last year, about the whole idea of being coherent. And I really started delving a lot into that, I want to say, the last quarter of last year. So, coherence is alignment and living from the heart, and living from a space where you feel steady, calm, and aligned. And that is something I invite you to think about for yourself, is find your place of coherence. And you can have your own word of the year. If you don't have one, it's only the first quarter, and it's not too late to pick a word of the year. It's so great to have a guiding word that you can reset to. And I'm telling you, I've been doing it for years and years and years. So I invite you to think of a word of a year for your year, and I would really like to know what you chose for your word of the year. So drop it in the comments if you are watching this on YouTube, and if you are driving and listening, I invite you to go watch the video, or just go into the comments of the video and let me know what your word of the year is when you get to a device where you can see it on YouTube. So that's my thing. That's my episode this time. My goal is to be back on track, and God willing, I will be, because I really do love what I'm doing. I love doing this podcast. And let me just mention, in addition to the podcast, I have started creating on some of my social networks is a boomer bite. So a bite to me, from a computer standpoint, it's like information, a small bit of information. And so we do a boomer bite, and it's always changing. I have it on Instagram. If you want to follow me on Augie Boomer Bites on Instagram, and I also have it on X. I have Augie Boomer Bites on X as well. And I share those a boomer bite regularly. And it's just something to think about. Here's a thought for a day. It's wisdom, inspiration, thoughts, things of that nature. And if you have a bite that you can recommend for a boomer bite, let me know. Drop that in the comments as well. I'm Augie Anderson signing off from the Mars Mission Control Center, which I love here on Mars. It's home of the Boomer Bites podcast here on the Florida Space Coast. I look forward to being with you in the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in.